Welcome to the DNP Conversation, a recorded interview series featuring Doctor of Nursing practice professionals from across the country. Our purpose is to share the amazing work of DNPs and how they're making an impact on patient, organizational, and academic outcomes. I am Dr. Jeannie Garber, Professor of Nursing at James Madison University.
And I am Dr. Brenda Douglas, DNP Program Director and Associate Clinical Professor in the College of Nursing and Health Professions at Drexel University. It is a pleasure to have you with us today. Today, we are talking with Dr. Sharon Stager. Dr. Stager received her BSN from Fitchburg State College in Massachusetts, her MSN from Duke University, North Carolina, and DNP from University of Colorado Springs. Dr. Stager is the program director of the graduate nursing program at Salve Regina University in Newport, Rhode Island. She maintains an active clinical practice at Wellcare Incorporated, focused in primary care and women's health. Dr. Stager provides lifestyle coaching and encourages prevention management utilizing motivational interviewing and neutraceutical management as an entrepreneur with her business In Search for Health, providing outreach to many.
Thank you for joining us today. Tell us about your educational and practice journey and your unique role as a DNP.
Thank you so much for inviting me. My journey started as a young girl who got to watch my sister-in-law and my cousin, who were both nurses, and I idolized them. They were by far what I always considered to be the best profession in the world. So slowly but surely, as a young girl, I kept emulating them, and I was honored to be part of their world in 1992 at Fitchburg State College, graduating. Fast forwarding, I graduated from 1992 from Fitchburg State, in 1996 from Duke University with my master's as a family nurse practitioner. I was a nurse practitioner and nurse in oncology, and I really found that it was an instrumental time in solidifying many ways who I would become today. When I was at Fitchburg State in my undergraduate experience, we started our nursing experiences or experiential learning very early in our sophomore year. It was so important for us to develop skills, develop critical thinking and clinical experiences, which really transformed my growth. But what was most special was in my senior year, when I was doing cardiology, because I was going to be an ER nurse or cardiology nurse. And I met with this young woman who was from Tufts. She was diagnosed with APML. And when that happened, nobody on the floor knew about it. I researched it, went to American Cancer Society, got her all different information. And then all of a sudden it was transforming. I found my home. Oncology was going to be my calling and mission for the next 15 years, in which I went to Duke University, worked in the oncology floor, got my master's there and as an FNP, and then continued to work in pediatric bone marrow transplant. At that point, we had a change in life and we moved back to the New England area. If you can't tell from my accent, I am from New England. And we settled in Rhode Island while I worked a little bit at Dana-Farber and then joined a practice in Rhode Island. When I started to do that, I was very active in the community and in my oncology nursing world. And I really became a leader and found innovation through entrepreneurial spirits. I really started delving into the health and wellness world, realizing that it was so important to me personally, and it really had to be part of my practice. And as I transitioned into primary care, people really wanted to know how to manage their care without it always being medicinal. The vitamin world had grown, nutraceuticals had transitioned, and we had really transformed. I then became and had the opportunity to become an adjunct professor at Salve Regina University. What a blessing that had been. It started out taking students onto the unit to teach them experientially, and then from there flourished to become a full-time professor and now graduate program director of a program that was initiated in 2014, which is really flourishing and becoming a greater program from distance learning. So I really feel that this journey has been phenomenal for me, and I'd love to be able to share more. And my unique role as a DNP has allowed me to become the graduate program director, help other nurses become doctorate nursing prepared, and be able to share in many ways our expertise through many different venues.
Dr. Stager, what an amazing background. Thank you so much for sharing this journey with us.
Thank you.
Would you please share with us the most impactful contributions that you have made to the nursing profession, practice, and/or outcomes?
Well, that's really an interesting question, right? So I think the one thing we have to remember that if you really mission as a nurse, the one most greatest thing I could give are my patient care. I absolutely love taking care of patients. And therefore, it really became entrepreneurial because not only do I care for patients, but I care for people outside to help them find their ideal health and ideal ways of living. So innovatively, I think DNPs can really think outside of the box, from being within a unit to being able to provide home care, to being able to provide care in the community, and really bridging so much more from a healthcare arena to impact not only a single individual, but a community, a population, and in global health. I really feel another really great impact that I have is that I teach future leaders. I tell the students that I work with, I am not having you think about one thing. I don't want you to memorize anything. I can teach anybody to do a task, but I want you to think outside of the box. Think why, picture things in your head. How can you transform? How can you change things? If you don't like something, let's choose a way to find a solution that is going to be better. So really, I think my contributions to my absolute profession, which I love, I usually say nursing is one profession with many roles. And I love having many roles for my own practice. But I think teaching other people and other nurses that there are many roles that they can impact in so many ways, and seeing that light and that empowerment is probably one of my favorite gifts that I want to give back to my nursing profession.
Thank you so much. And that leads perfectly into the next question, which is, as we prepare nursing leaders of the future, what do you foresee as the role of the DNP?
Well, I foresee the DNP to be the change agent of the future. Boy, haven't we transitioned from being Florence Nightingale, and look at her as a change agent in the Crimean War, significantly changing the outcomes of morbidity and mortality. Well, I think we still transform from back in the 1800s to today in the 21st century. And if we can look at being leaders, transforming practice, our organizations, not only educational organizations, our healthcare organizations, and then beyond our location of employment to healthcare, to communities, we can really transform, and I love that word, but we can really change so much in the health of today. So when you're engaged in committee work, both on a state level, our organizational level, really we share our story, we share our expertise, we share our passion, and therefore people can think just one sliver of a difference to maybe see a different perspective. And when that perspective is seen and we can come close together and say, I can see your point. I may not agree with your point, but I can see it. That's when true change, true transformation, true growth can really come from those places. So a location of transformation that I can see within the DNP is really just engaging with others. An example I would love to share with you is meeting with one of my local senators. He's a young man who is very active, and he wanted to know a little bit about a healthcare bill that was being brought forth. And he didn't understand the roles of the nurse, all the different terms, that alphabet soup. So I specifically went through from, CNA all the way up for registered nurse, what it meant to be baccalaureate prepared versus associate prepared, diploma prepared, going up to getting a master's to be a FNP or an advanced practice nurse, into being a doctorally prepared, and what the educational process was through all of those steps. And he was amazed that the bill was being passed to limit opportunity and limit practice versus enhancing practice and focusing on what I had shared with him is the IOM, saying that we really need to be able to practice to a highest level. I really truly transformed his thinking, and therefore it was brought to the Senate, and he was able to educate people there, and the bill didn't get passed. So it's amazing what we can do for a short amount of time, educating people to make a significant impact in our profession.
I appreciate you sharing that with us. Dr. Steger, leaders, they are visionary, inspiring, and talented, and you obviously are one of those, and we thank you for what you give back to those. So DNP prepared leaders are poised to be leaders in healthcare. We know that. I'd like to hear more about what your perspective is in the preparation and launching future DNPs into the workforce.
Oh, so education, right? We need to educate these leaders. We got to empower them. We need to give them everything they can, the tool chest that they need to be successful. And I really feel it's so important to think about the ethics of healthcare. Healthcare policy, as I just kind of referred back to, but if you're not knowledgeable of what's out there and what your scope of nursing is as advanced practice and to really transform, look at what we've just gone through with the pandemic and doing telemedicine. What can we as doctorally prepared nurse practitioners do to transform the way we're being paid and reimbursed, the way we provide care, the way we engage artificial intelligence to be able to assist patients to receive the best care and to allow them to live the lives that they need and still get care to people who maybe have difficulties in obtaining or getting to a location. Really amazing. And then to take it from the healthcare policy arena and being able to offer great healthcare to how do we then fundamentally pay for it? How do we fund it? How do we financially transition business and organizations in a structured way to protect healthcare, protect our role, protect people, and protect the customer or the patient? And then I want to teach our DNP leaders to be research leaders. We have got to be embedded in evidence-based practice. If we're not looking at the outcomes, seeing if the outcomes are really impacting our patient care, our professional organizations or our organizations, then we're staying with the status quo. We cannot be status quo. We need to be cutting edge and connect our PhD nurse leaders with our doctorally nurse prepared leaders and collaborate together with research and implementation of theoretical and research findings to transform and elevate practice and patient care outcomes. So just really providing the greatest impact is to share all those pieces and to bring forth and bring together nurses as a whole.
Thank you so much, Dr. Stager, for all of the information that you shared and the insight that you provide about our profession of nursing and about our DNPs across the country. So we really appreciate your time today. And we also thank the listeners across the country and recognize that we're all making significant contributions to the health of our communities, to the leadership of healthcare organizations, and to our academic institutions. And it has been that, as we've already discussed today, now more than ever, it is imperative that we continue to dialogue about what we do, how we do it, and the successes we experience. It is our hope that these conversations fuel and inspire you. So let's keep the conversations going and have a great day.
Thank you very much.
Joining us. Until next time, thank you, Dr. Stager.
Thank you again.